Hey guys, welcome back to the channel Everyday Carry for the Everyday Guy. It's been a while since we've done an EDC Q&A and mail time video. I've got some mail that I want to go through and I've got some questions that I need to answer. I've been really lackadaisical on the EDC Q&As. Guys, if you want to ask me anything that you want asked and answered on the channel, you can DM me on Instagram or inbox me on Facebook and I'll ask and answer the question on the channel. I do apologize for the noise in the background. Cars are driving around, there's nothing I can do about it. So what we're going to do is we're going to do our usual process where it's a pocket dump, a question, a mail, a mail, and then a question. So let's get to the pocket dump first. In my rear pocket, as has always and probably will always be the case, it is the Leatherman scatter tool. The sound's probably going to sound a bit different now because I'm talking into the back of my mic. I do apologize. My flashlight is the PowerTac Valor. Really like this AA light. The belt is, as always, Core Essentials, coming around to the center. Glock 19, Holosun, Streamlight TLR7. People have asked about this mag. This is a 17 round Magpul PMag. And then I'm running it in a Southwest Holsters Rattler with discrete carry concept clips. Let's get this guy back on. There we go. Knife, Gonzo blade. I just like it. It's just working really well for me. And Open 2. And then defensive blade is Mojo Knives Push Dagger. So I'm reviewing this knife and so I'm carrying it and testing it for review. This thing tucks in really nicely. And that's the pocket dump. So what was it? Pocket dump mail question or pocket dump question mail? Let's do a question. Hi Ryan, thanks for all the videos. It's really refreshing to see a South African doing what you're doing. My question is around flashlights. What do you look for in an EDC flashlight? And are they really worth the money? Pierre van der Walt. Pierre van der Walt, what do I look for in an everyday carry flashlight? And are they really worth the money? So here's the thing. Different people are going to look for different things in an EDC flashlight. If you've done training and that sort of thing, then you might look for a more defensive orientated flashlight. What I look for in an EDC flashlight is I want a squishy button, right, that has a lot of travel so I can control momentary on versus constant on. I look for it to be a bit bigger than my hand, so if I needed to, I can use it as an impact weapon. Survivability, of course, carryability, it mustn't be too thick in the pocket, right? And lumens, but more than lumens, candela, right? For defensive light, I look for candela because that is light intensity at a point, which means you can have a 300 lumen light, but if it's 15,000 candela, it's going to be really blinding and really directional, which is what you want out of a defensive light. I don't want a light that's going to go on by mistake. That's very important because lighting yourself up is a really bad deal if you are using a light defensively. So I don't want a negligent dischargingly light. And again, for me, it's just control. I like this because it's got that cool fingering, which means if I need to go to my firearm, so I'd use it in my left hand. If I need to go to my firearm, I bring this around and now my hands are free to do what they need to do. And I retain my light. I was on a course with Global Phalanx and Kinetic Solutions. I think it was Medical Emergency Ground Tactics course. And I lost one of my lights at night because it didn't have this little finger retention ring. And I had to apply a tourniquet. I put the light down. It was pitch black. I'm talking like we were on a farm. Put the light down, applied the tourniquet. Couldn't find the light again in the dark. It happens quick and you don't think it will happen, but it will happen. So in the EDC defensive light, that's what I look for. Let's talk about EDC utilitarian. 1 second. So from an EDC utilitarian standpoint, the Olight Baton 3, okay, this is that super small Olight that everyone freaks out about. I think, personally, I'm out of breath, I just ran to my bedroom to get this. Personally, I think this is one of Olight's best efforts at the utilitarian light. What I look for in a EDC utilitarian light is I want to be able to cycle through quite a few modes. I want longevity. I want a magnetic tail cap so I can stick it to things, especially for utilitarian purposes. That comes super in handy. And I want it to be small. Like if I'm carrying a utilitarian flashlight in my pocket, I want it to be the smallest utilitarian flashlight that I can possibly carry. So is it worth the money? Well, that's going to come down to yourself. I personally believe if you have a flashlight, you will use a flashlight. If you don't have a flashlight, you won't use a flashlight. You'll probably use your cell phone, which is a very poor substitute. I'll be honest with you. Cell phones are good lumen, but very, very poor candela. They don't light up a large area. If you want a defensive flashlight, you can use a flashlight defensively. If you don't have a weapon-mounted light, you absolutely need a handheld flashlight. That is a absolute must. But whether or not it's worth the thousands of rands is dependent on who you are and how you value this aspect of your life, right? Some people are going to say a 199 rand flashlight from Game or the China store is going to be fine because they'll just buy as they need, which is 100% valid. I mean, that makes a lot of sense because you can buy quite a few of those 199 rand flashlights for the price of one of these flashlights. So there is a lot of sensicalness in that train of thought. On the other hand, if I am in a back alley, if I'm alone at night, or not alone at night, if I'm at night and someone breaks in, I don't have a weapon-mounted light on my firearm. If I want to search and assess before accessing my firearm, that sort of thing, then I'm going to spend the bucks because I want something that when I press that button, light's going to come out of the other end and a sufficient amount of light to where I can see and to where I can visually disorientate. Visually disorientate, what I mean by that is that sort of thing. I want to remove someone's visual horizon using light. And that second it takes them to do that could be enough time for me to then go to my firearm or to run away or whatever the case may be. So the ability to control light and have light when you need it, to have an impact tool, that's what I look for in EDC light. But if you are not someone who does want an EDC light for defensive purposes, something like the S1R Baton 2 or the S2R Baton 3, the Baton 3, the small one, is well worth a look in. China. An OLED boulder. OLED red laser. It's interesting. So a red lasered OLED boulder. So for those of you who don't know, the OLED boulder is OLED's light and laser combination. The laser emitter, you guys probably can't see it, is in the glass or in the bezel, and this is a red laser. So when I spoke to OLED about this, I questioned why a red laser, because the original boulder has a green laser. So I mean, I'll take a look at it. But if it's the exact same thing as the original boulder, just that it has a red laser, I'm not going to re-review it. Well, thank you, first of all. I do appreciate everything I get sent. And I'll play around with the OLED boulder red laser and see if there are any differences beyond the actual laser color. And if there are, I shall report back to you. Let's take the next question. How's it, man? Thanks for the Q&As. Wanted to ask what training courses you'd recommend and what your next course would be, from Bradley Dahl. Bradley Dahl, no relation to Jonathan Dahl by any chance? Old high school friend of mine. Okay, so what training courses I'd recommend? I have answered this question before, but I'm gonna make it a bit more broad. I would recommend you do a nighttime pistol course, pistol handheld light course. I'd recommend you do a medical course, and I'd recommend you do an emergency medical ground tactics course. If you do those, you're kind of like in a really good space, right? And then you can work on, well, prior to that, obviously you're going to work on accuracy. I'm assuming you can already draw your firearm from the holster and shoot relatively accurately. If you can't do that, then you're going to need to do like a pistol 1 course where they're going to teach you the basics of pistol manipulation and those sort of things. So I would say that Bravo Tactical Africa, Fundicona Training Consultants, in the past 12 months, I've done the low no-light course with Fundikono. I've done medical emergency ground tactics with Kinetic Solutions. I've done tactical combat casualty care with Global Phalanx. And I've done combat lifesaver with Kinetic Solutions. I feel like I'm forgetting something. If I'm forgetting anyone I've trained with, I do apologize. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Or I'm forgetting a course. So that's what I would recommend you do. My next course, my next course is next week. So if you're in Cape Town, at City Guns, Fundikono Training Consultants are doing like a Glock masterclass course. Basically, if you're a Glock owner, you want to do this. They're going to basically take you through the entire firearm, strip it down, put it back together, do some shooting. There might be some low light shooting as well. Basic course, just in 50 rounds, like $500. So if you are in Cape Town, that's happening next week. I'll throw out the flyer so you can just check the details, pause the video if you want to get more details. So I'm going to be at City Guns next week doing that course. Fundikono Training Consultants, Dean, absolute legend of a guy, really, really cool. Also, on this Saturday, James Smart, who you've heard me mention a million times, and Dean from Fundikono are doing like a course on what you do after you've successfully defended yourself with a firearm or knife, whatever the case may be. So that might be worth looking at. I'll leave it linked down below, and if I still have the flyer, I'll pop up the flyer on the screen right now. So that might be worth looking at as well. What was the question? I wanted to ask what training courses you recommend and what your next course would be. Okay, so I mentioned what my next course would be, and the training courses I'd recommend are courses that are going to just push you beyond your comfort zone. If you come out of a course feeling like, oh, I aced that course, it's like everything I did perfectly right, then you never need to do that course again. You need to go into a course thinking, yo, this is really hard, like that. Like you have to constantly be out of your comfort zone, push your limits, understand where you are, have humility. If it's an advanced course and you can't run a tap rack drill or you're still skittish about your firearm, you can't do that course. Then you're going to want to go to either beginner or intermediate course. So just make sure you're always pushing the limits. Don't go to courses for the purpose of self-gratification and for the purpose of making yourself feel good, because you're not learning anything. If you've mastered everything you're training, you no longer need to train that. Push yourself to the next level. Never a bad thing. Let's open this first. Very nice. Aziza at CHS Guns, thank you very much for my CHS Guns coffee cup. I'll keep calm and carry, absolutely. I will definitely be enjoying my coffees out of here going forward, and you will see it on my social medias. This, I know what it is, and I do have to say thank you to CHS Guns for hooking me up with this. I have to apologize to Mavs Gear. I spoke to Travis at Mavs Gear about this, but I just pulled the trigger on this when CHS Guns said they've got it and they looked me up. I lost my day-nighttime protective eyewear, so I needed a new set relatively soon because I'm doing that course next week. I didn't want to spend the world, but I wanted a decent set. I mean, that's not bad. It looks kind of good. These are the Evolution series from CHS Guns. They're not that pricey, a few $100, and yeah, they're better than those. I'm break a lot of hearts, but they're better than those. You get those Glock sets where you get like the ear muffs, the hearing protection and the eye protection. My version of those just is integrated while it was in the case. So yeah. But they're obviously not as good as your Wiley X or whatever the case may be. But I didn't want to spend the world. I just wanted something that would get the job done. Thank you to CHS Guns for this. And thank you to CHS Guns for this. And thank you to Olight for this. Guys, if you're in Cape Town and you want to do and you are a Glock owner, do the Fundikono course. I'll see you guys next week, Friday. If you are going to be there, it'll be really cool. Support Fundikono. They are great guys. And then the next day, James Smart and Dean from Fundikono will be doing a course on what happens after you've successfully saved your own life. Father's Day gift ideas coming up this Sunday. That's the video. If guys, you want to send that to your wives, kids, whatever the case may be, because that's the video where I'm going to outline what cool gifts are available for Father's Day EDCers like us. Well, I'm not a father, but yeah, this channel is my baby. That's it, guys. Have a good week. Be safe, train hard. Cheers. God bless.